Whoa. I didn't even press that. And that echo reverb was on. How are we doing today? It is Friday, the 1st of December. Hey, where's my music gone now? There we go. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you're doing good and well. Let's see if the cameras are working. It's all going crazy here. How are we doing today? 1 month to go. 1 month to go until we are in 2024. This year has flown by, hasn't it? Hey Judy, welcome back. That's very kind of you to say. I hope you are well. No problems, Michelle. Thank you for letting us know, and I hope you enjoy your company. And hey, my friend, all the way in Australia. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Had a workout today. Doing some recording things. Hey Cheryl, great to have you here. Yeah, we are doing pretty good. Mr. C, he's wandered off in the sun, I think, to get the last few rays of the day. It gets so dark in California in the evening. Well, I guess it gets dark everywhere this time of year. Hey Mina, great to have you back as well. So I'm working a bit this weekend. Got to take the group coaching call, so that's going to be fun. And not long until I'm back in England myself, which is crazy to think about. But I hear it's pretty cold. Having spoken to my dad today, he said it was cold. It's cold. We don't like the cold. So I was thinking today to do things a little bit different. I was thinking of doing some multiple recordings of the podcast. That's what I'm thinking. So like 2 or 3 episodes in one. And the reason being is because if I'm going away, I want to make sure that there's episodes while I'm away. So that's what my thinking is. So they may be shorter, but get a good couple in, maybe 3. So if you have suggestions of a quick subject, we can just do it on the fly. We can always do that. It's like the old days when I used to, my first coming onto a stream, well not the old, but doing it more professionally on YouTube live streaming. I'll just go live and then just choose a topic, rather creating the topics. But how are you guys doing? You up to anything good this weekend? What are we doing this weekend? Anything fun? Anything festive? I know I won't be putting up any decorations because I'll be, like I said, I'll be going away, so there's not much point. But are you getting into the festive spirit if you do celebrate Christmas and other festive holidays. Did you listen to the festive stress release we just released on Wednesday? Yeah, we put that out on Wednesday. And it seemed to be some people liked it. So yeah, let me know what you're doing. Anything festive? Or you're like totally against Christmas, like I'm done with Christmas. Or any holiday you celebrate. Oh, nice. Yeah, the cozy phones are good. I haven't done a moving your voice, because I used to do it all live, but I haven't actually done that on these latest ones. It's really weird because some people don't like it, and then some people really like it, and you're like, you can't please everybody. And so I try to mix it up a little bit. Hey Melody, happy Friday to you. Oh, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Is that like a live show? Was it that kind of thing? So stage musical. So I presume yes. When I'm back in England, my mum has arranged some kind of thing like that, some kind of theatre thing. But it's going to be a surprise. I was meant to have gone to one last year, but then, or the year before that, I can't remember, but they had their, the COVID things. Whenever that was. Was it last year? Was that still going on last year? So that was the year before. But I do like the theatre. My favourite theatre, or did I say I like the theatre? I haven't gone to many. But one I really liked was it Woman in Black? Is that the one? The kind of scary one? Saw that in London. I like that a lot. That was fun. And I like, the good thing about the theatre, I like intermissions. I like intermissions. A quick little break. I heard this might be doing that with movies soon, because these days they're like 3 hours long movies. I heard that some places might be doing intermissions. So pleased you enjoyed it. Yeah, kind of move it from left to center to right. Yeah. Definitely good for the sleep hypnosis. They're the ones I recommend. But I'm sure there's other good brands, but they're the ones I've used. Oh, that's great. That's great. I remember going to Old Town San Diego for the Christmas theater, and that was really cool. Because my favorite one is... what's the grumpy old man one? Charles Dickens. Is it a Christmas Story? No. Christmas Carol. I like going to see that one. So I'll be excited for when I go back. See, I think it's going to be like a community theatre, which would be cool. And I've stopped myself from looking at what it could be. That's awesome. That's another thing, because I'm self-employed. It's a bit hard to have a work party, especially when the people I employ don't live in this country. Oh, see, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. Because I think it ties in really well, personal development. Perceptual positions in the timelines. Reframing perspectives. Because we can do that whole thing in our mind. What? You haven't seen the Christmas Carol? It's my favorite. I like the animated one with where Jim Carrey does a lot of the voices. Oh, that's awesome. I think the 27th is when I get into Cambridge. I think. So I got like 4 or 5 days in 3 locations. So I'll be seeing my brothers around the 27th. So we can get into the episodes. See if we can do some multiples. If not, I can always do them not live. I feel kind of lazy today. I don't know if it's just a Friday or it's getting Christmassy. In fact, I feel a bit like that all year, or half a year. But yeah, we can just get into it. Hey, my friend. Welcome back as always. I hope you enjoyed the the festive session. You kind of inspired that. So thank you for the inspiration. Leaving a comment saying I got one. I thought, we can redo that. Well, not redo it, just do a whole different one, but on the same theme. We could. And we could have a Christmas party here as well. When we do it like that Christmas quiz. We did that last year and that was fun. Awesome, so pleased you enjoyed it. The sleep version of that is out next week. Did I do a sleep version? Unlike me not to. Yes. There'll be a sleep version for that one. Which will have like some good, positive, empowering beliefs and feelings as you're going to sleep as well. That'll be in the app pretty soon. Yeah, it was pretty fun, right? I haven't had all my Christmas music. I don't even know where my Christmas music is. We played it, I think, a little bit on the other stream. I'm gonna get festive now. Where did I put it? Here we go. Didn't I have like a proper background? Did I have a proper background for Christmas? Can you remember? I guess we can get Christmassy now since it is the 1st of December. Where is it? I'm sure we had one. Mina, did we have one? Have like a Christmas background? Oh, what's this? Does this work? No, nothing's happening. We did. I think I found it. But the file's not there. Supposedly this is it, but it doesn't look Christmassy to me. How strange. This just reminds me of Home Alone. Where's my Christmas stuff? We have a remix though, right? I can't find it. Don't say I gotta recreate it all. It'd be cool if my system actually allowed me to look where the source of it is. But I think we're losing viewers by me looking for this, so we should probably just stop and I can do this another day. Yeah, we'll do this another day. Otherwise, it'll be a little bit boring. Ah, well, happy birthday. Cake's the best. Alright, let's get into the episode. I don't see any suggestions, so we'll just go with ones I thought of. That is Christmassy enough, right? Yeah. We want to ease into it. We want to ease into Christmas. Hey Terry, great to have you here. No, not my birthday. Cheryl's auntie's birthday it was. So let's get to it. Alright, let's turn that down. Let's get into it. Should we go for All Good, My Friend? I was thinking about how to react calmly around people. Could be kind of good for the Christmas kind of festive spirit in case we're around family members or people who kind of maybe provoking us. I got that one in my mind. And then another one around even being like addicted to our struggles. That's always a fascinating subject. And then I thought we could also go into maybe a stream of, you know, the real cool subject of how like the belief is the enemy of knowing, like true knowing. That's gonna be my third on the list if we get there. So which one should we go for? React calmly around people, which will be a bit of a process, at least be teaching it, or addicted to your struggle? Which one should we go for? Which one? And what music should we play? Don't want to play Christmas music for this. We want to just go for number one, how to react calmly around people. I think that was number one. So we'll put on, since it's a different stream, we'll just do different things. Okay. Let's go for that. The first multi-recording podcast we've done. So now I've got to think about the subject. And while I think about the subject, we'll just go ahead and start and just see what happens. We'll do that one as well then. We'll definitely do that just after the react calmly around people. So let's go ahead right now. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and in this episode, we're talking about a subject which I think you're going to find really, really valuable, because it's all about how to react calmly around people who may provoke you, or they might, they may make you feel a certain way which kind of rubs you the wrong way, or it makes you feel worried or anxious, or even if you have, say, narcissists or people who just try to put you down. Now, before we get into more of the psychology of the process, it is important to always mention that other people's opinions of you are none of your business. We say that time and time again because it is so important. Other people's opinions, we can take them in, we can understand them, but at the end of the day, it is your mind, and it's really about what your opinion of self is, rather other people's opinions of you as a person. So have that in the forefront of your mind, that this is your mind, and you get to choose how you would like to feel, act, and react. So now let's get into the whole idea of the process within itself. Now, we could do this maybe on another episode, or we could do it a little bit on this episode, but I want to just break down what you have to do. You see, other people who provoke you, we tend to think, well, that person makes me feel provoked. That person makes me feel bad. But if we live by that mentality that other people make us feel certain feelings, we're out of control. We're not able to deal with a situation because we're saying only that person can therefore only stop that, right? And we don't want to live by that narrative that only other people can make us feel things. We want to go, how do I choose to feel these feelings? Like, there's something within me that they've touched upon which has provoked me to feel those feelings. And that's where we get the power back. That's where we get to decide how we would like to feel. So what I would like you to do, if there is a certain person in your life that you feel you would like to choose how you want to feel, react, and just be in a very grounded or strong or powerful state, consider maybe the triggers in the first place. Like, what is the first thing that has to happen from that person that causes you to feel a certain way? Like, I know we said, like, we are the one who's generating. They may be doing something, they may be provoking us, but we want to get that power back. So go ahead and just think about, what is that trigger for you? In other words, it could be something they say, maybe a little jab or a little dig. Is it their tone or their inflection of their voice? Is it the energy they're putting out? Is it when they look at you in a certain way? Because that's important. You see, if we can discover a typical trigger, then we can then start to interrupt that trigger and do something else, right? So number one, just consider the person and then maybe the trigger or triggers that causes you to be able to feel this feeling. And then go ahead and define how you would like to feel differently. Like, you get to choose your feelings today, and you get to choose how your unconscious mind will respond in the future. So for some people, it might be, well, I want to have confidence. Some people, it might be a lower energy state, not in a bad way, but just like a level of peace. Like, I'm just calm. You see, confidence can be a little bit more energetic. But this is where you get to choose. You get to choose any state that you want, or any amount of states that you would like to feel. because we're going to pre-teach the unconscious mind how you can do this to make a change, because at the end of the day, everything is an association. How you associate to that person's voice, how you associate how they look, or when they look at you in a certain way. All of those things are these internal unconscious associations, and that's why we want to know about that trigger in the first place. Because when you start to think about that trigger, you may then bring to your mind maybe a picture in your mind of that trigger. Whether it be a sound, a feeling, a thought, an image, it's probably going to be a combination of all of those. But just notice how you associate to that person who is provoking you in a certain way. Notice how you hold that image in your mind. It's going to be maybe a certain color, it's going to be a certain size, it's going to be a certain symbolic representation, it's going to give you maybe certain feelings on the inside, but just notice those subtle differences of how you associate them in your mind. Once again, everything is an association. And then what I want you to go ahead and do is start to change that association. For example, if you associate that person and it's like in the right up close in your mind when you think about it, go ahead and just start to move that internal association, that picture, further and further away and smaller and smaller and smaller. Notice if that changes any feelings that you have. Maybe if it was colorful, you go ahead and turn down the colors a little bit. Maybe even make the whole association of them black and white. Notice if that causes you to feel less feelings of being provoked. All we're doing is changing your inner association. And what we're doing also is, because it's unconscious, you're getting your unconscious mind to see them differently. Now, you could go really extreme with this, because maybe they say a certain thing and they have a certain tone. Maybe it's a stern tone, or a making fun of you tone. So go ahead and then just change that voice. How would that voice be for you? Maybe
you just go ahead and get them to speak like this. So just in your mind, notice how you can just change that dialogue.
And make it as funny as you would like. You may even want to change how they are, maybe shrinking them down to a small person and then
speaking in that funny voice, even that it's humorous.
So go ahead and just play around with the their voice, their representation. Maybe making them, like I said, dress funny, smaller, change the voice, change the colors, make it black and white, make it extravagant, whatever it is for you. And even you may want to feel a bit of humor. So every time you hear that voice on the inside,
there's a little feeling on the inside which just starts to make you laugh a little bit.
Whatever it is for you, because you'll know. And the more you start to think of that person in this way, we're saying that every time that person says that, your unconscious mind will start to subtly change that association. Not that we want to make fun of them in a certain way, but really to dismiss the old ways of doing, because now we're starting to balance it out. So you get to choose once again. All I want you to do is, once again, fully break it down, consider the past and consider the triggers. How do you know when it's time to feel bad or to feel a certain feeling? And then notice your internal representation of that person. How you associate in colors, in sounds, and in feelings. And then if you start to change the meaning, you start to change the association. So just rehearse that again, right? Remember the trigger. Notice the representation. Now make it, if it comes right up real big, make it real small and farther away. Turn down the colors. Add things to it. Add maybe different music to that situation. Like kind of circus music if you wanted. Whatever it is, You get to choose. And then your unconscious mind will remember that. And even a subtle suggestion to your unconscious mind, you can remember this. Every time that person tries to provoke you, you gain the power back. And let's add to this a little bit more. So when you change everything there, what I want you to do is notice some of those feelings that we said of how you would like to feel. And as much as possible, remember times when you felt that feeling of peace or confidence. Notice where it lives in the body. And then just allow that to get bigger and bolder and radiate it around you. Almost like you're radiating out that feeling to that association. And that means your unconscious mind can remember that feeling too. For some people, you might even squeeze your finger and your thumb together, and that means we get that unconscious remembering on a kinesthetic level. And that means every time you squeeze your finger and thumb, your brain starts to remember it. So feel the good feelings and squeeze the finger and thumb together. Feel those empowering feelings and squeeze the finger and thumb together. And you may notice if you do that a few times, we call this anchoring, that your body, your neurology, like Pavlov's dogs, it remembers that feeling and state. So change the association, you will change the meaning of how you feel. Changing the meaning of the association will change your reaction to it. So I hope you got value from this. And here's the other thing. Practice it. Rehearse it. Rehearse it in a way that makes it a little bit silly or a little bit calm, a little bit funny, whatever it is for you, of future scenarios. And if you can do that about 7 to 10 times, we are pre-teaching the unconscious mind that every time whatever that trigger is, you now feel differently. That is where you gain control. So I hope you got value from this episode, and I look forward to speaking to you on a future one. Many thanks and goodbye. Okay, so that's one mini podcast down of changing your state, changing the associations. Practice it. It really, really works every single time. Yeah, they're pretty cool, right? This is the Rodecaster Pro 2, which does that, but there's other ones as well. But yeah, you can just
change your voice in certain ways
and do little things in every way. So go ahead and practice. I wasn't even thinking about doing the voices until I just thought about it. I was like, well, if we're going to change your voice, maybe change my voice. Thank you. Yeah, practice it. It really, really works every single time. So, I know it's real simple, by the way, but everything is made of an association. Everything is a representation of how you observe it in a subjective way. And if you change, like I said, that meaning by changing we actually call those in NLP sub-modalities, because we have our modalities, which are visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. So obviously our sight, our smell, our hearing, our taste, and touch. And a subset of those is broken down. So if it was visual, a submodality of visual would be, is it a picture? Is it color, black and white? Is it a movie? Is it a still? Is it framed or panoramic? All those things of just the visual. So that's why I wanted to guide through those different elements right there. Okay, so we go to the next episode. Why not? We're having fun. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and today we're talking about the subject of, are you addicted to your issue and your struggle? Now, I don't mean that in a bad way, okay? It is an unconscious process. I don't think you would consciously choose to feel anxiety. I don't think you would consciously feel and choose to have a fear or a phobia or esteem issues or anything like that. But sometimes we can unconsciously get addicted to the issue. And we're going to break it down probably in a couple of ways. Now, the first way is the most simplistic way of making sense of it. And that is, your unconscious mind keeps issues for what I would call a secondary gain, right? A secondary gain. What is a secondary gain? Well, your unconscious mind is getting something by remaining the same. As an example, let's just say there's someone who, let's go for, they haven't got a job and therefore they don't have the income. And maybe because they're depressed or whatever it is, right? They get assistance maybe from the government. They may get assistance maybe from their friends and their family. They may get more support emotionally from their friends and their family. And maybe it is easier because they're not having to work and they're getting this support. Now, couldn't it be easy to see that maybe the unconscious mind is thinking, well, I get love from my family when I have this issue. I get moral support when I have this issue. People come around to help me. People give me money, or the government gives me money. Or my unconscious mind might go, well, I don't have to work that hard job if I keep the issue. So your own unconscious mind may be starting to get addicted to keeping the issue because we have these positive aspects. Now you may go, well, Joseph, they're not positive because I'm in pain and feeling depression or anxiety or chronic fatigue or migraines or whatever it is as an issue. Of course it's not good, but we're not thinking about the result. We're talking about the intent, the intention behind keeping it, which in this case, that example would be feeling love and support from your friends and family. In fact, there was one person my father was working with who had a lightning and thunder phobia. Every time the weather changed and there's thunder and lightning, all her friends would ring him up, say, are you okay? Do you want me to go over and make sure you're safe and all those things? After a while, that person felt that attention meant love. So it was a real weird double bind that we have this horrible feeling. But when we have that horrible feeling, we get acknowledged, we get approval, and we get love. So how do we navigate this? Well, the way of doing it is really logically understanding this. As you think about your issue, whatever the issue is, could you maybe think about some secondary gains? And if you need help right from the get-go, one of them is always going to be safety and protection. In some way, your unconscious mind is getting a safety protection mechanism. If I don't feel good enough, I'm not going to play big. I'm going to play it small. I'm going to stay in my comfort zone because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to fail. I don't want to succeed in case all the pressure there. So we can go number one. It's going to be a level of protection, a level of safety and protection. So go ahead and then think, is there anything else that I get from this issue? Maybe a little bit consciously, but absolutely unconsciously, which is making me hold on to this that bit more. Because sometimes we can start to identify it, and this could be another subject, but sometimes if we have this issue, we can then start to label ourselves as a person who has that issue. Like we go, I am a depressed person. That is, break it down. I am a depressed person. We've now maybe, I'm not saying all the time, but we might go, well, if I am a depressed person, I can never be happy. I can't be like someone else. Now, the tricky navigating it there is, look, labels are okay sometimes. They can make us understand about ourselves, like, oh, I have ADHD. I just don't want us to play into the game of like, that means I'm gonna stay this way forever. So consider maybe some of the labels that you have from the issue itself, because that label we start to identify with. Like, I'm going to backtrack just to be clear here. Labels are good for understanding, but in some cases, if we do that for too long, we will start to identify as that is who we are. And that means it makes it harder to change and get the results that we want. So be conscious of the unconscious identifications that it's running there. So that's one level. Once you've kind of listed them out, emptied them out of all the things which could keeping you stay the same, notice and consider other ways you can fill those feelings or get what you get from keeping the issue without the issue. For example, if it was the getting love and support, is there another situation where you can get love and support from a family member when you're not like that in that scenario? And then do as much as you can in doing that thing, because after a while your unconscious mind go, well, I actually get love and support and approval in this other thing without this pain. So come up with some alternative scenarios or solutions of where you can get those good feelings, those good intentional secondary gains, but without the issue. The other thing, the last part of this is when we start to feel addicted to our issue, unconsciously, we'll start to feel like a victim. And being a victim is meaning the win on the effects side of life. And that starts to create labels. That causes us to start to identify that this is who I am. And the other last the very last part of this is sometimes we get into the habit, like we say things like, well, this, when everything's going good, I know that something's going to bring me down. Like you're just almost expecting something to take away the progress you're having. That can be a vicious loop. So be conscious of the things that you say to yourself. In other words, are you kind of unconsciously hypnotizing yourself to stay the same by your themes of life, like how you represent how life goes with you, works for you, or works against you? Once you start to catch those belief systems of perceptions of life, you can start to then catch them when it happens, and therefore you can start to do something about it. We're almost, throughout all the things I've said here, by the way, these are unconscious processes that we're making at the conscious level. Like we're getting that conscious understanding. The more you get it up there, you're getting the unconscious conscious, and then you can start to feed in a new solution. You can use any one of my hypnosis sessions. We have hundreds, and I should count them. We've got over 1,000 hypnosis sessions in the app, and you can just go ahead and get that at freehypnosis.app and start to do the deeper work. But the more you understand about yourself, the more you're able to do something about it. So don't let it just run havoc at an unconscious level. We don't need to be addicted to our issue. In fact, we can start to let it go systematically once you start to isolate, recognize, and then start to implement through maybe the hypnosis app at freehypnosis.app. You can listen as you go to sleep. You can transform in the day. You can have morning meditations. You can even create your own custom tracks. You get to just get the solution to freedom at an unconscious and conscious level. So that's freehypnosis.app. Many thanks and goodbye. There we go. That's another one done. I'm trying to think like we can make these kind of sometimes shorter so we reach more people, because attention spans, we're like goldfish these days with all just like the reels and the stories, and we're just kind of scrolling. So if I make these like 10 minutes or 15 minutes rather like the 30 minutes I like to get to, we can then even make them shorter into clips as well, which will then get people out of the quick consumption into the longer ones, or at least have the choice between short to medium to long. So that's what I'm thinking. But that was the second episode down. Thank you so much. Do we need to do one more? Should we just keep it at 2? Should we just keep it at 2? I do like this music though. Maybe we'll keep it at 2. Because we talked a bit about the belief is the enemy of knowing. Or unless you have another subject, and we can just do it on the go, on the fly. Thank you, Leah. Hey, why is my computer muted? I'm meant to be on Do Not Disturb. It's good to be curious. Hey, Karen. Great to have you here. Thank you so much. No problems, my friends. You have a great one. And thank you once again for reminding me about, not reminding me, but creating the thought to do that hypnosis on the festive stress. We've talked about the belief as the enemy of knowing, right? Yeah, we've never done it before. We've never done multiple. Fear of living alone. Fear of living. Fear of living alone. I might have to do another one, and while I'm doing the other one, think about that one. We'll do a bit of dual thinking. A bit more, and if you got more context about that as well in the meantime, if that's something that you're thinking of, or unless you're just thinking, a lot of people have that, because I kind of love living alone, which means we've got the solution, because I feel that way, because I'm like, I got freedom, I get to choose. But while you let me know, let's go ahead and do a very, very short one right here, right now. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and today we are doing a very short episode, mixing things up a little bit to give you the details that belief is the enemy of knowing. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we have our belief systems. Where do those belief systems come from? Think about it. They come from experience. And what kind of beliefs do we have, whether it be positive or negative? Let's go for the negative, because that's tends to be the thing that we try to work on releasing. When you think about the negative belief systems you have about yourself, which could be, for example, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not capable. Think about where they came from. Well, they're going to come from experiences, and they're going to probably come from negative experiences, whether things have been done to you or things that you observe. So the observation one is maybe modeling your parents or modeling friends to assume a certain belief. Like if you've grown up in poverty and you only ever heard your parents say things negative about money, how it's really hard to get, you may then assume that belief system, and therefore it becomes yours. Or maybe in the same scenario as in where it happens to you, maybe you had money, lost money, and therefore you had a belief about that. So beliefs that we hold about ourselves are always going to be subjective. They're your interpretations about yourself and the world. That is not that good, right? If we had this negative programming. So when we say like the belief is the enemy of knowing, what is the knowing? Knowing is without having that negative perception, that negative subjective viewpoint. And we want to get to that place as much as possible. And it is incredibly hard. A lot of the time, right? Because we're trying to recognize and decipher and discern between what is made up in my mind and what is the knowingness. Now, if I were to say my knowingness is that we are love, that we're whole, that we're worthy, deserving enough, it's our birthright, that we are energy, like these could be out there subjects for some people, but you get to choose what you feel is the knowingness. And it could be, if you want to dial it back a little bit, is if you have these limiting negative beliefs, well, maybe look for the counter evidence of factual evidence where that is not the case. For example, if you have all these negative beliefs about yourself, and therefore that's not very good for us, look for the contrast of that. Are there times, for example, if you believe you're not good enough, you could go real simplistic and even a little bit silly. Are you good enough to get dressed? Are you good enough to drive? And the chances are you're going to find quite a few things that you are actually good enough, right? I know we're talking about kind of different things because we're not talking about identity, but the more evidence, the real stuff, the knowingness, you will start to get your unconscious mind, which is running that limiting belief, to consider new evidence and see it through a different lens. And therefore, it will start to break down that limiting belief. Even just knowing in your mind that belief is the enemy of knowing, and you just keep thinking about that enough, meditating on it, listening to hypnosis with that idea in mind, you will start to change your association to that belief system. So once again, belief is the enemy of truly knowing oneself, truly knowing who you are. And at the end of the day, to really finish it off, you came into this world whole. You are a blank piece of paper, and now, as we went through life, things started to happen. Well, maybe it's time to remember the beginning of ourselves, when we were just totally free of all belief systems, all judgments, no idea about the world. And maybe it's time to start to paint on that new blank slate the kind of images and thoughts and ideas of knowing that you get to choose to create. So, hope you got value from this episode, and I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Many thanks and goodbye. That's funny. Kevin Michael Reed, you are missing out. You missed out because we're doing a multiple episode stream. That was a third one. There's a first ever multiple recording. They're shorter, but the first one. I hope you're well. Do you see my message today? I still can't see images in Gilded, so I don't know what you're referring to. I think you're referring to the earthquake, what happened, because I noticed that. Thank you so much. I think it came from my childhood. My friend was hiding. Oh, yeah. So there's an unconscious limiting decision and association that we might get surprised and attacked or whatever it may be. So we'll probably do that another time, but there's... I'm trying to think, because I've done... So one thing you can do, even the first episode we recorded about reacting calmly to those who provoke you, you can use the same thing but on the memory. And we actually kind of call that like a fast phobia in a way, release, but just changing that one memory and asking yourself, what can I learn from that situation? So what decision did I make as an 8 or 9 year old, but what can I learn now looking through the eyes of me as an adult? And therefore mixing it up, the association will let go of a lot of the energy there and maybe the decision, but preserving the learning will help as well. So I'd do that. Yeah, we are, I don't know if it's cheating though. I think it's probably just more efficient at the moment because it's for when I'm going away. Yeah, I didn't know what you were referring to until I looked on like, I don't know what it was, like Reddit or something I saw. But I didn't feel a thing. I didn't feel a thing. I was asleep. And no one else has mentioned to me, because I spoke to a few people and they didn't say, oh, did I hear the earthquake or feel the earthquake? Which one was that? Belief the enemy knowing. Yeah, we could do that as well. Go to josephclough.info/ABC and that will help. You can do your suggestions. They are a little bit, but where I get to ask the questions and the answers. But I did ask if anyone had a topic, which we did get one, but it's just a little bit later. But we did 3 episodes. But yeah, go ahead and do that first, and if not, I'll really do a topic around it, or do a session episode around it. So yeah, we pretty much did it. So that pretty much brings us to the end of the live stream, the 3 episode recordings. But I want to find where that video is to make it really Christmassy. Yeah, gotta bring out Peter and his friends. Most welcome. But Leah, remind me and I will go ahead and do so. Oh, that's funny. I feel them sometimes, not often, but the worst ones were when I was in a little bit up north where I was. They were doing explosives in the ground because they were doing construction there. That was pretty crazy, like shook the whole house. I cannot believe. We haven't got our Christmas one. Most welcome. Most welcome. Thank you for being here on your Saturday. Appreciate that as always. But I think I'll just find this overlay later. Because I can't find it. Be a shame because I spent a long time doing that one. So thank you ever so much for being here. I'll be back on Monday. We only have a few more live streams left of the year. Oh wow. That's crazy. How was Japan? I'd like to go to Japan. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 live streams to the end of the year. 5 more left to go. And then we start brand new in the new year. So we'll probably do the last one, the more Christmassy one, maybe. like on the 18th, or maybe the 15th and or the 18th. And if you're here, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Yeah, I bet it's super cool going to like Tokyo. That's where I'd want to go. Or maybe you should go to Japan. Awesome. So once again, thank you all for being here, and I look forward to speaking to you on Monday. Many thanks, and goodbye.